On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
All right, good, but okay.
Okay, what about the Scarlet Letter? What about the woman that has a scarlet letter?
You don't like Scarlet? You didn't like that book, Kay?
Anton, just.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, but I think that men and women cheat for different reasons. A lot of guys cheat just for ego. Like it's almost like a sport. You know what I'm saying? Or it's not even a sport for some guys, or it could be a circumstance. They could be just situational, or like literally he don't even have to remember her the next day, or he don't have to necessarily care for her. And then there's certain dudes that get caught up long term and they wind up having side chicks and they actually spending real time with these chicks, right? But for the most part, a lot of guys can cheat and it don't even mean anything to them. And in that same vein, if you ask them, it was nothing that the chick did necessarily that caused for them to cheat.
It wasn't until he was about to go and he knew he was finna do a stretch. He was finna do the longest amount of time that he had to do. And he knew he wanted to make it right with her. And the story goes that when he went in, he gave her some change to hold down for him until he got out. What happened while he was doing that stretch, she multiplied what he had. And you haven't, since Gucci has been out, you see him now. Remember before he went in, he had the gut, he was out of shape. You see him now, he's working out, he's fit, he's healthy. You don't hear no scandals with Gucci. And it's amazing that people aren't highlighting that part where he got with the woman that actually added value to his life. They still want to talk about.
But he had talked about in his book that she had added value to his life way before he had.
Yeah, you're right, 1000%.
Way before he had went to jail. 1, he was the only one in this. She was the only person in his circle that was like, "Hey, yo, you need to be moving a little differently." All of the homeboys and all of that was riding the wave, and then she was the only person that was holding him down. Real talk.
So why didn't he commit though? Like, why didn't he commit until he had to go to jail? What was his reason in the book for why he wasn't committing?
He was still doing drugs. He was still on the lean. He was still kind of in and out of street life still to an extent. Still had a ton of beefs that he was addressing. And it's not until you go to jail for that stretch in detox, like things get real clear when you detox.
Yeah.
Remember when he came out? Look how he carried himself now. I don't think they kept saying they kept saying there was a clone of Gucci. Like, this ain't the same Gucci we remember.
I want to ask y'all this. So did she see potential in him?
I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever.
I mean, that's kind of, you know.
I think if I remember correct, Anton, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the beginning, he said in the beginning he took interest in her because I think she was like a dancer or a video vixen or something like that. And he said she wasn't really like rocking with him like that. But when they got into the relationship, to Anton's point, she kept trying to like get him to adjust. So I think she did see something eventually because he did keep, he kept presenting himself. Like, persistence overcomes resistance. So I think she did see something eventually. But if I remember correctly, initially, she was, buffing his advances at first.
Most women, if you let them stick around long enough, they'll add value to your life one way or another. If you understand what it is that she really about, she will in some way, shape, or form. And of course, we're not talking about the pavement pounders, we're not talking about the street walkers, we're not talking about the chicks that's for the streets. I call them pavement pounders, Kay. Street walkers.
You call them what?
Pavement pounders.
Anton, what is a pavement pounder?
They for the street
walkers.
It's the Walking Dead.
The street.
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. What?
He's a woman of the night.
I'm dead.
Just run into walls.
So we're not talking about them type of chicks. We talking about the chicks of value. It's a lot of chicks of value. And they will hold you down. That's JR.
Oh, that's wrong.
What's that noise?
That's JR.
JR needs sound effects.
The Scarlet Letter. as we say.
But wait, do y'all consider Gucci Man as what is a Ray Pookie?
I mean, I'm not talking. Listen, I'm
Before-
not talking about him per se, character wise. I'm just saying that the value that certain women add when you decide that you want to get married or you want to, you know what I'm saying? You know, on that tip. I ain't talking about Gucci Mane per se, but I'm just using that as an example because he's an extreme example of a dude that was all the way in the streets. You know what I'm saying? That completely turned his life around based off of the fact that he wanted to move a certain type of way in a person that was pouring into him. An extreme example of it. So that's why I used him as an example.
You guys are just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. Appreciate the super chats that came in. I know we had a new member. I did acknowledge you. Salute to you. Go green. That's the way to go. You want to become a member, hit that join button. I'll add another bonus topic for you guys real quick. Throw this up there. People cheat because they're cheaters, not because you can't cook or you didn't give enough sex or you got into an argument. There's nothing someone can do differently to not get cheated on except find someone who isn't interested in cheating. I'm leaving it out there for a second for you guys to regurgitate that.
That only applies. No, let me be quiet.
What are your thoughts about it? Go ahead, Anton.
Men and
Anton,
women
I
cheat.
want to hear your.
I think that applies to men. I don't think that that's people. Because I think that women and men cheat for different reasons. And again, we're not talking about the pavement pounders, right? We just talking
Oh
about.
my God! Please stop saying pavement pounder. Like, what is that even?
Y'all gonna stop messing with
And
Y'all
then
gonna
JR
stop.
said the
Y'all are
Walking
gonna stop
Dead.
messing
Like,
with
what?
It sounds like a restaurant.
JR.
Hey,
I
Yeah,
got
you
you.
should
Hey,
be a
don't worry about it.
ventriloquist because you know what? You can't even tell that you're the one doing that.
Right, because his mouth
Okay,
is so
talking to
close. I was
You
like,
should get
what
a
is
little
that sound?
ventriloquist dummy. You need to.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I was like, what
You.
is that sound?
Because we know.
It sounds like an old person on a
Earlier
respirator
people
breathing
like
system.
that.
I thought
it's
that
the
was one of
Walking
y'all.
Dead. It's the Walking Dead.
Somebody said the cheek clappers.
You went into a whole other scene.
I
when
hope
you
it
did
wouldn't sound like that.
Oh, okay. Kay, the Streetwalkers. Is that better?
No, y'all
No,
gonna stop
but
messing with you.
Anton, I just want to hear your opinion. But none of these terms are good. But okay.
What about the Scarlet Letter? What about the woman that has a scarlet letter?
No.
You don't like Scarlet? You didn't like that book, Kay?
Anton, just
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, but I think that men and women cheat for different reasons. A lot of guys cheat just for ego. Like it's almost like a sport. You know what I'm saying? Or it's not even a sport for some guys, or it could be a circumstance. They could be just situational, or like literally, he don't even have to remember her the next day, or he don't have to necessarily care for her. And then there's certain dudes that get caught up long term and they wind up having side chicks and they actually spending real time with these chicks, right? But for the most part, a lot of guys can cheat and it don't even mean anything to them. And in that same vein, if you ask them, it was nothing that the chick did necessarily that caused for them to cheat.